morning and welcome to the August Geelong Business Network Breakfast. We've been lucky enough this morning down here at Little Creatures to hear not only from the CEO of the TAC, Joe Calafiore, but also from the new CEO of the City of Greater Geelong, Martin Cutter. And we're starting to develop a good picture of where our city is going, what are some of the thinking behind the big challenges that we're facing. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to both Joe and Martin briefly for you to share some of the ideas that were bandied around this morning. Well, Joe, thank you for joining us here this morning. The TAC has, of course, sponsored the event this morning. I was really interested to hear your thoughts on this growing social insurance sector. And of course, the first player, TAC, it all started with you guys.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be in Geelong at the moment. So we relocated to Geelong in 2009. We've got our sister organisation in WorkSafe that's just opened a wonderful new headquarters. And we've got the National Disability Insurance Agency under construction. So you've got a genuine hub of social insurance happening in Geelong. And we believe that's actually unique in the world. So it's a really exciting time to be part of this community, and the City of Greater Geelong are also leading a push in Canberra to get more both public and private sector organisations to come to our region. We've already seen an IT company set up shop. We've got professional services firms here, so I really feel Geelong is now back open for business. And for someone that grew up in Geelong, I'm just really excited and really proud to see the employment and the opportunities that are coming our way.
And Joe, did I hear a little whisper that there might be another one on the way?
Well, those in the know are saying that there's currently a process that the federal government are deliberating on. We've got a very professional business case, and we've got just such great advocacy as you see an event such as today. So you've got to be optimistic when you go into these processes. But the TAC and WorkSafe and the NDIA have shown that despite there's a lot of knockers when it comes to decentralisations, what we are showing is that you can run multi-billion-dollar businesses successfully from our region because we've got the talent. So I think it's a success story, and I'm optimistic that we've got some good news on the way.
Absolutely. And Joe, and I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because the model that's being shown here, I mean, obviously for Geelong this is social insurance, but there are all sorts of areas that are going to need expansion throughout government services and throughout that interconnection between social services and government services as we tackle things like the ageing population, so many other areas that are going to need our attention. It's a nice model, isn't it, for what can be replicated?
It's a great model. Look at the Epworth. Look at Deakin University taking over the world. Look at the data science capability with the ABS. So for someone that I grew up in the northern suburbs of Geelong, if you'd said 20 years ago this is going to be a hub of data science, that would have been pie in the sky. But we're not talking about it, we're actually doing it. So the new CEO, Martin Cutter, talking about the population growth. So this place is growing, it's the place to be. It's a great time to be in Geelong, and I just think it's a great time to be in business, actually. So if the TAC can be a small part of that, we'd be really proud.
Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for supporting this event this morning. We need you guys to come in and help the rest of us come in because, they're great fun. We have interesting conversations and we need to get those conversations going.
No, we had an absolute ball, absolute pleasure.
Right, well, Martin, you've been in the job at the city for 2 months now. Welcome to Geelong.
Thank you.
It is fantastic news to hear also that we're going to get to keep you because, of course, the CEO job at the City of Melbourne has been flagged up, but, we got in first, so finders keepers.
So I'm very excited. Before I came down here, I had a long thought about whether I would stay in Melbourne or come down, and even if the job came up, I said to the councillors, there's no way I'm going back after I take this job.
Is that because of the grief that you get from the family after you've moved down to JJ?
Yeah, moving is not a pleasant experience. I think there's the top 5 things that you don't want to do more than once or twice. And
top 3 for stress, I think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. We've been in our previous house close on 10 years, and my wife's got plenty of things, and once we pack them up, there's no way we're going back.
Hey, Martin, it was really interesting to hear your thoughts this morning on looking at the processes within the City of Greater Geelong. As you will be learning fast down here, it's a really passionate community. It's a very diverse range of business community and general community. Lots of challenges in the areas, lots of opportunities. So the better we can get those processes through council, then help to build trust, help to overcome some of the issues of the past. What's your approach on how to get that integration of?
Yeah, well, that's most councils face that same issue, and it's about providing a better service to the customer and the ratepayer, and that means we need to look at our processes and find ways for customers to interact with council easier than what they currently do, and most of that should be through digital solutions. Direct access through some sort of app or some sort of process like that will make a huge difference, but we are looking at our processes, and I think I talked one this morning about improvement in pothole turnaround time, and it might sound like a small thing, but let me tell you, when someone complains about a pothole and it sits there for 17 days before they get an answer or they see it fixed, it's too long. So
can you talk us through that, Martin? What is that process change?
Well, basically we're using lean thinking to have a look at all the process steps that are involved in pothole filling. That means you start right from the beginning when a customer rings in and says there's a pothole on whatever road around Geelong, and we'll go out and obviously fix that pothole, but there's a series of steps to do that, and what you actually do is actually sit down with all the people involved in that. There's usually 9 separate departments have a say in that, so you get them all into one room at the time, you get them to map out all the steps that are involved, and then you work out whether that's a wasted step or a step that can be eliminated. So you're sort of jumping through, instead of having say 23 steps, you might end up with 11 steps, and that usually means you can cut out days and time involved in that sort of turnaround time. So yeah, we think we can get it down significantly. I think the customer sort of expects around about 5 days, so if we can get it down there, we'll have done a great achievement.
And of course, one of the hot button issues around here, and certainly for, let's face it, any council just about anywhere in the world, is planning. You did speak really well about that this morning. Is this approach, is this lean thinking approach and this integration of services, bringing together of people, is that kind of the approach that you're looking at taking forward through that planning?
So lean thinking is about sort of looking at processes, all right? As well as that, I mean, obviously we do the same sort of things as I talked about with Apollo. You need to look at all the processes involved. We also need to work with the state about working out whether there's sort of impediments to those sorts of changes that we'd like to do, but also making sure you get your interaction with the customer in a way that they understand the complexities involved in the planning scheme.
I think is probably the biggest issue, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So the real complaints are usually coming from a single person who wants a planning permit who doesn't deal with planning permits on a regular basis. It is complex, but it's also an incredibly important process. So trying to work with a customer through that in a more proactive way is something I'll be trying to push for our planning officers to try and implement.
Terrific. Well, Martin, I know you've got to go. If we had you here for a while, we'd tackle waste, we'd go into parking, we'd go into all the fun things about council.
We'll fix all those.
But we appreciate your time this morning. It's been terrific to hear from you. I hope people out there have enjoyed hearing a little bit of you speak, and I'm certain that we'll be hearing more from you in the near future.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.